Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Today I will present to you iFleet Internal System Management for the my PSM1 presentation report. So I will present my supervisor, which is Dr. Adila binti Firdaus Arba'in. For the project overview, we will have five highlight points, which is the introduction, literature review, methodology project, requirement and analysis design, and the conclusion. For the introduction, the iFleet Internal System Management is a software platform which the purpose is to help fleet business for the fuel consumption management, license management, maintenance management, and logbook management. So for the problem background, which is firstly, high costs. The larger the fleet, the more complex and costly the operation become. So the fleet owner need to allocate funds for fuel consumption, maintenance, licensing, and it also need to allocate funds for expenses. Next, we go to the maintenance rely on manual process and paperwork. For the paperwork, the maintenance will reporting will take time consuming and slow down the process as it need to manually fill out the form, which can be tedious and take away valuable time. Next, you also need to transferring document and manually inputting data, each which we have time consuming, which is for the point number three. Next, for the less productivity, as for the resource allocation, time consuming can result in efficient utilization of the resource as it will decrease the productivity of the fleet organization and the lack data accuracy. So, lack data accuracy, which is paper form, aspect susceptible to error and can be easily damaged. If we have misplaced illegible handwriting or incomplete information can lead to misunderstanding or incorrect data entry. The objective of the iFleet internal system, which is need to elicit the requirement from the stakeholder to develop and design a mobile platform for the iFleet management. Next, to design and develop mobile platform that can handle all the iFleet software module to ease the user task on using the system. Lastly, testing and debugging the functionality of the features in the mobile application so no error or failure features can happen in our system. The project scope, which consists of the logbook management, which is need to access the logbook and work time. Maintenance to help the driver in the process of maintenance to reporting it electronically. For the fuel management, the driver can manage their fuel consumption by log fuel to see how fuel contribute to operating costs. Lastly, the license management is enable handling and access to license management including special provision. The importance of the license management, which is to it help to different industry and jurisdiction have specific license requirement that business must adhere to. So for the literature review, which is focused on the differentiation of the current system with the proposal system and technology used to develop the system. So for the comparison between the existing system, we compare with the Geotech and the Flatio, which is very famous in the internet for the mobile application for the fleet organization. So based on the research on the Geotech and Flatio, we found out that the features that they offer, which is the fuel management, logbook management, and maintenance. But for the lesson management, they did not apply in their mobile application, not with the our proposed system, which we will implement the lesson management to the driver. The reason we implement the lesson management is because if the lesson is very to demonstrate that a business is authorized to operate and provide proof of its credibility and legitimacy. The technology used will be the internal iFleet management system. We use mobile application to allow fleet managers and driver to communicate in real time. The enterprise architecture will become the blueprint or model for organization structure, process, technology infrastructure, and support UML notation. And the Android Studio will become the IDE to help develop the Android mobile application. For the methodology, which is the project to achieve the objective and become a guidance to the developer in the making of iFleet management internet system. So for the methodology, which is for the planning, will be for the phase where to elicit the objective and scope and the stakeholder. So during the phase, the project team will identify and clarify the project objective. This involves understanding the desired outcome, the goals and benefit that the project aim to achieve. Besides that, it also need to identify what will be excluded from the project as well as setting realistic and achievable goals within the given constraint. Lastly, to help the stakeholder to have the common understanding of what the expectation of the system needs and potential impact on the project. Next, we go to the phase two, which is requirement gathering and analyze, which from the elicit requirement, we will have to elicit and identify between the functional and non-functional requirement from the stakeholder from the documentation review. Next, for the phase three, which is design and architecture. In this phase, we will design the architecture using the UML diagram to give visualization of the system and redesign SRS, SDD, and UAT. Development and testing is the phase where the developer team will start to develop the system by entering the code and develop the coding. Next, deployment and user acceptance, which is production of the system, can start at the early deployment with an easy and simple deployment script. Maintenance and support, which is developer will monitor the system in the early production deployment to see the error and to debug the error for system maintenance. So for the hardware requirement for the computer, it need the processor at least i5, i7, i9, which at least need 1.2 gigahertz to run the program as file. The operating system need to be Windows 8 or above, or if it is using Mac OS, need to be Mojave 10.14.3 or minimum to run the Xcode 10.9, 10.2.x. The RAM will be 8 GB memory and the storage will be 1 TB storage. The hardware for the smartphone will be minimum 32 GB to run file, app and system. RAM will be 3 GB RAM to support the mobile application. And the software requirement will be EA for the develop STD, SRS, and UML. That development key as the programming language, Flutter development key as a UI to develop mobile application code base, Android SDK as a library and tool to develop Android development, AVD as a virtual device to debug the code to run the program to see the output of the code. So for the requirement and analysis, we will see the use case diagram, which is in the use case diagram, it will have three actors, which is the manager, workers, and the driver. And in this, we have four modules, which is fuel management, license, logbook, and the maintenance. The use case, we have 20 use case, which consists of the view fuel consumption, edit, delete, insert, and monitor. It's quite the same for each management as all of this is about management. So from the view fuel consumption, it will extend to the edit fuel consumption entry and delete fuel consumption entry. And for the package diagram, we will have use the MVC, which is model view controller. For the view, we will have delete fuel consumption, entry from page, and fuel consumption as the view of the user to the system. The controller, which is the transmit the data from the view controller offer the input to the database, and the model will become the database for us to retrieve to update the data. This is the prototype which is for the fuel entry, delete maintenance entry, insert fuel entry, and list logbook entries. Others you can see it in the thesis of the appendix C. For the conclusion, we will need to create a success to create mobile application that driver do not need to manually update, implement iFree internet system which will be helpful to all users, and to improve the security of data and enhance reporting and analyzing features. That's all from me. Thank you.